long duration cardio, steady state cardio, also known as cardiac output. Chances are you're not doing it. And if you're not, you certainly should. If you want improved sleep quality, deeper sleep, more restful sleep, lower stress, lower anxiety, improved cardiovascular functionality, and an overall healthier well-being and improved performance, then you need to start doing it. I'm in County Wexford Island on this lovely, cold, wet morning. Have a look around. Beautiful. Getting 8 kilometers done. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining why. So the cardiac output, long duration cardio, isn't the only way to develop that aerobic base. There's about 6 to 8, maybe 10 methods to do so, but it's certainly a very simple and powerful method to do so. And when I say simple, it's simple because, you know, when you look at the requirements, the rules, the regulations, so to speak, of how to implement it, it's very, very basic. And from a time perspective, yeah, it's not that most efficient because it does take time, right? It's duration based work, but it's very much underutilized, and a lot more people should be using it and getting that benefit. But there's a big misconception out there, bit of a myth, that it will destroy your gains. Steady state cardio is bad for you. You'll lose muscle mass. You know, you'll turn fast twitch fibers into slow twitch fibers. That's just complete, utter nonsense. And most people that talk like that and think like that are the ones who are marketing or train a specific way. Basic exercise physiology tells us that we have to train this energy system, especially for ATP production. Now, ATP is energy. It stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's the most important physiological process that goes on in the body. You might be familiar with the 3 energy systems that we use. The first is the ATP PCR system, which stands for adenosine triphosphate creatine phosphate system. This is the most powerful, fast acting energy system that we have access to. Within 6 to 10 seconds, it's used and gone. So it's very fast to act. However, it has very, very poor oxygen capacity. It takes a longer time to recover. Think of a heavy squat, a heavy deadlift, a maximal sprint. That's when you're using that ATP phosphocreatine system. Now, the second energy system is the anaerobic glycolytic system. Now, this system is obviously a little bit longer time frame, up to 2 minutes or longer or less. It's the pain cave work. Beautiful stream, beautiful. Island is gorgeous. County Wexford. I might go for a pint of Guinness tonight. Anyway, so that glycolytic system, anaerobic system, is that pain cave work. In my opinion, very much overused. People abuse it too much, and failure to dip in, dip out of it fast can result very quickly in overtraining, overreaching, and plateauing, injuries, overtraining, and just getting ill and getting colds, flus, and run down, things like that. That final energy system is the aerobic energy system. That aerobic energy system is what I'm training now, and it has specific parameters for you to get an adaptation from it. However, it is the energy system that we're using day to day just to stay alive. So it's that energy system that runs all the time for extended long periods of time, but to train it, we're looking for specific parameters to get that adaptation from it. So in order for us to get or improve ATP production, the only energy system that we should be building is that aerobic base, that aerobic system. It's going to improve heart efficiency. It's going to regulate your autonomic system, which we'll talk about soon, improve recovery, and many, many more things that I'm going to dip into today. So far, I've done a 19-minute run, 2.8k in. Can't work out what pace that is, but I don't care. I'm talking while I'm going. It's a conversational pace with you guys. Therefore, I should be working in the right heart rate zone to get those aerobic adaptations. So me personally, I love training my phosphocreatine system, the power system, and that anaerobic glycolytic system. I love it. Heavy, explosive long rest periods, sprints, I love that sort of shit, and it's what I respond best to. However, the aerobic base should be fundamental practice for everyone. Failure to improve the aerobic base before commencing in that power-based work and glycolytic work, you won't be training efficiently, which for myself over the years, say a 10-year period of not dipping into it periodically enough, I got injured. Too much systemic drive. And when I tried to do some aerobic based work like this, I absolutely fucking sucked, which told me I was not fit and healthy. When we're doing this long duration work, this cardiac output work, what we're trying to do is get a central adaptation, meaning the heart. We want to get a centralized adaptation as opposed to a peripheral adaptation, which is more of an adaptation to the muscles, peripherals, capillarization and things such as that. I just want to show you this beautiful stream here. Beautiful. In the woods. Now, I'm allowed to stop, walk, run, do whatever I want here on my 8Ks because I haven't accumulated 8 kilometers for fuck knows how long. So the goal of my run today is just to accumulate the work. Any means necessary. Would I like to stay within a certain heart rate target? Hell yeah. Because that's where I know I'm going to get that adaptation for cardiac output. However, if I feel good, I'll push a little bit harder, but chances are I won't be able to because I haven't built that long duration cardio base and I haven't done an 8K for fuck knows how long. So we'll see where I finish at time, because I'll definitely get the distance in today, but for time and heart rate zone. Let's get back on the jog, shall we? An improved aerobic system will 100% improve your recovery between training sessions. What's incredible and beautiful about improving that aerobic system is that it will help you recover between bouts of training and exercises. So if I'm doing sprint intervals, fartleks, air-dying sprints, rowers, squats, deadlifts, glycolytic or power-based work with an improved aerobic base, you will improve your recovery between bouts and sets. I've now ended up on someone's farm. I've gone completely the wrong way. They're all watching me, all the lambs. I think I'll go back now because I've done 3.9 Ks out of 8. So I'll get on the jog back. Right now my heart rate is 125. I've walked for maybe a minute, so get back on the jog in a minute and accumulate the rest of the distance. When we're training, we are activating our sympathetic state. Now, basic physiology, we have the autonomic system. And it has 2 states. We have this sympathetic state, which is that state of arousal, stress, high blood pressure, high heart rate. That shouldn't always be active, but it is when we train. The other side of that autonomic system is the parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest side, the calming side, that meditative side, lower blood pressure, lower heart rates. You should be familiar with that side when you walk, read a book, have a bath, meditate, yoga, calm, relaxing exercise or just activity. That parasympathetic state should be active more than the sympathetic state, obviously, because like I said, that sympathetic state should only truly be active when we train. However, with the way we live today, societal pressures, financial pressure, family pressure, exercise stress, too much power training and not enough recovery, too many high intensity intervals, too many sprints, too much weight training, too much glycolytic work and not enough rest recovery, we end up burning the candle at both ends. And over time we overtrain, we under recover, and we put ourselves into a hole of overreaching. Some of the things that can happen: shit sleep, you impair your sleep quality, or you need more sleep, maybe you're always tired, maybe you're starting to get flus, illness, sickness, pneumonia in some cases. Maybe you lack motivation to train, to do hard work, or your perceived effort and exertion when you do train is very high for what you normally do. These are all signs of overtraining and being too sympathetic driven. So you need to work on that parasympathetic state, that calming state, that recovery state. Now for some people, that may just mean a light long duration run, a couple of walks a week, a bath, cold therapy, time off work, holidays. Now for others who have stressed that sympathetic state for long periods of time, years, and under recovered, that could be bad. And I'm a little bit lost. I'll go this way, along the river. For those individuals, you need to put more time into training that parasympathetic side of things. Maybe less training, lower intensity bouts of training, longer rest periods, more calories. This ain't the right way. More calories, more carbohydrates, better macronutrient splits, hydration, sleep. So your sympathetic state shouldn't be activated all the time. Only really when you train. And for the rest of the day, you should be parasympathetic dominant. If you want improved sleep, improved recovery, to feel better and just be generally happier, less anxiety, less stress, then you need to create a better balance of this autonomic state. And one of the ways to do that is to do long duration cardio. So let's talk about heart efficiency. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're trying to get a centralized adaptation, the heart, as opposed to peripheral adaptation, muscles, enzymes, capillarization. In order for us to do that, we have to keep the heart rate between 120 beats per minute and 150 beats per minute. This may change on your age, your aerobic base level, your experience, your injuries, males, females. But generally, as a rule of thumb, we've got to keep that heart rate between 120 to 150 beats per minute, anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes. Now, at those heart rates, it's going to allow the blood in your body to perfuse into the left ventricle of the heart. And as you do this, the blood is in there just long enough to stretch the walls of the heart. And this creates the adaptation whereby the walls of the left ventricle become wider and bigger. And that's how heart efficiency improves and takes place. And that's known as eccentric cardiac hypertrophy. You basically teach the heart how to be more efficient by pumping more blood around the body in each heartbeat. So you improve what's called stroke volume. So the heart has to work less with each pump. So you improve stroke volume and you lower resting heart rate. So for anyone who is stressed, gets anxiety, high blood pressure, this is the perfect way to train to lower that resting heart rate and improve stroke volume and heart efficiency. You might be thinking, why can't I just be more efficient with my time and do high intensity training, Tabata intervals, repeat sprints and shit like that? Well, unfortunately, no, you can't. It's a completely different adaptation that occurs in the heart when you do high intensity training. As I mentioned, when you're doing that long duration work, the heart's walls become wider and bigger, whereas with high intensity training, that doesn't happen. The walls of the heart become thicker, which is a completely different adaptation of that centralized heart system. So no, you can't just do Tabatas, repeat sprints, and think you're going to get that improved centralized adaptation. Just imagine your heart is beating as fast as possible. All your heart wants to do is get blood in and out as quick as possible. Now, with thicker walls from high intensity training, it's not going to be doing that efficiently as if you did more long duration cardio and this cardiac output work. With wider walls, you're going to be able to uptake more blood into the heart and get it out faster. So long duration cardio, heart rate between 120, 130 to 150 beats per minute for anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes. This is where that autonomic shift is going to occur. How do you know whether you are sympathetic dominant or parasympathetic dominant? Well, the easiest test is to do a resting heart rate test. In the morning when you wake up, you're laying down, simply measure your resting heart rate. If you are above 60 beats per minute, you are most likely sympathetic dominant. If you're sub 60, you're therefore parasympathetic dominant, which is a good thing. I've worked with people who only lift heavy weights, only do high intensity training, glycolytic work, and neglect that aerobic base work. Their resting heart rate is still below 60. However, they're still sympathetic dominant. So your resting heart rate isn't the only measure to determine that autonomic state. We have heart rate variability and many other tests. But that resting heart rate is a simple one for you to use. So right now I'm 47 minutes into my run. I've done 6.3K. My heart rate is now sitting at 160. I've got 1.7, whatever it is, to go. And we'll see what my heart rate averages. Woo! Look at this. This is sick. Now, I'm not saying don't do any high intensity training. And I'm not trying to demonize it because I love it. It's very good for you. I'm just saying that most people do not train cardiac output, long duration cardio enough, especially considering the way we live our lives and the way we do our high intensity training. I think a lot of us will be healthier and better performers by doing more long duration work. So there we have it, my long run done for today. Now I did 8k and I did that in exactly 1 hour and 3 seconds. Now my average heart rate was 144 beats per minute, which puts me into that perfect cardiac output zone. Remember, it's 120 to 150 for anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes. So for me, that's the most I've ran in a very long time. 8Ks, 7.5 minute Ks or so is what I averaged, which is light, it's easy, but that's the whole point of getting those aerobic adaptations. Now, I feel great. Walk home for the last 500 meters, nice dip in the shower, then I'll start my day. I'm gonna be doing this long style run once a week. My plan at the moment is to build that aerobic base out. A lot of people think to build that high level aerobic base, you need to spend 12 months working on it. That's absolute nonsense. If you know how to get the adaptation and you know how to control recovery and you have good weight training in there, you do not need 12 months. 8 weeks is a minimum. However, I would highly recommend 3 months. 12 weeks to 15 weeks, you can build an incredible aerobic base that can have you running a sub 25, sub 20 minute 5k, a solid 10k, and even half a marathon. Now, for some people who are more experienced, they may be able to do a 12, 16 week prep for a marathon coming off the back of doing no running whatsoever, if the training is put together smartly. Myself, I'm 2 weeks in to building this aerobic base. I haven't done any aerobic running, training, conditioning for years and years. I'm already running a sub 25 minute 5k, and the goal after 10 weeks is to run a sub 20 minute 5k. Watch this space, stay updated with the videos, and you'll see how I get on with only running 3 days a week.